Hi, I'm Kevin Castaneda, and this is Kev's Mindset, where we talk everything finance, investing, mindset, and productivity. And today we're going to be talking about recovery stocks, and more specifically, why recovery stocks are recovering after having suffered some quite substantial losses yesterday on August 4th. What I think about this, why are we in this yo-yo market, and what there is to see about this. So if you do enjoy this video, feel free to smash that like button, as I would very much appreciate it, and it helps this video push it out onto the YouTube algorithm, and that's great because then more people get to see this video. So if you could do that and take a second to do that, I would very much appreciate it. Also, go ahead and subscribe if you do want to watch more of my content in the future. So let's get straight into the video. Okay, so we started off on August 4th with substantial losses, especially in the recovery space. And the reason for this is because there's a lot of fear and a lot of panic that we might be heading into another market dip, with countries like China starting to shut down a little bit, countries like Israel, and we're seeing all very big parts of the world start shutting down. And we all know that China tends to be a little bit ahead of us. They're a few months ahead of us. We could usually look at China and what's going on there and forecast what's going to happen for us in the future. And so it's kind of weird, but it tends to work that way, where something happens in China and then we look forward and then we end up seeing the same thing happen here that happens there. It's kind of like a fortune teller per se, but that's besides the point. On top of that, we did have all the stocks fall yesterday, right? And so now we're kind of in this point where it's like, okay, we're recovering. The recovery stocks are recovering. Why? So to answer that question, why, is I personally think that we're kind of in this yo-yo market per se. I think that we're going through a period of time where, okay, we go down because of specific news, and recovery went down because, okay, there's a lot of fear about Delta. There's a lot of fear about American Airlines, who's like, hey, we're running low on jet fuel and it's getting expensive. This isn't good. And a lot of the airlines fell because of that. They fell because of Delta, and there's still a lot going on there. But now it feels like people are just oblivious to it. It's like we see this coming. We see, okay, all these bad factors that are coming in, right? And then as these bad factors are coming in, we see the stock drop because after the news. And then the next day, people are like, it's undervalued. Let's buy the dip. It's not undervalued, okay? Recovery is not undervalued. Recovery, if anything, is overvalued. And then there's a bunch of articles that come out saying how, oh, they're prone for a perfect recovery. No, they're not. No, they're not. There's so much wrong with these articles, so much wrong with people's kind of mindsets, that when it comes to recovery stocks are good, don't get me wrong. I'm very excited about some of their growth for the following years, but I'm not willing to buy United Airlines at 45 or American Airlines at 20 or something like that. Like these aren't stable numbers, and it makes no sense that these companies rally up to these prices right before a potentially substantial drop. It just doesn't make sense. So I personally think that we're kind of at this point where it's like, okay, we're going up just because there's nothing else to buy. And I feel like people are looking at the market and they're looking for deals in the tech space, because usually in March and April we saw huge sell-offs, but now there are no deals there, and now they're seeing recovery drop like 4 or 5%, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll buy this, and then everyone rallies into that, and then it flies up the next day, and then we just kind of keep going through this yo-yo where we go down, people buy the dip, it flies up, then people think it went up too fast, so then they sell off, and then it just keeps happening over and over again. But this has to have some definite end, and I think the definite end is going to be on a negative note. Now, I'm a bullish investor, but in this time period, with all the information relevant to me, I think that we are definitely in a period of definitely slow growth, like slower results, slower acceleration, slower everything. And I think that we, even now with the Delta variant, I think we can potentially see a large drop in the market, especially if we continue to see all the pretty bad things that we're seeing around the world, like China is starting to shut down, and they usually are the forecast for our future. So I think with that, I definitely believe that recovery stocks are prone to sell off much more, and definitely much more than they're anticipated right now. And I think we're going to get out of this yo-yo market by having a huge sell-off, maybe like a 10% correction, And I think that 10% correction will set everything straight and will allow, first off, a nice buying opportunity for those of us who have stuck around and waited to buy instead of buying on these 1, 2, 3% dips. And for those who have been buying, well, they'll be able to buy some more if they really want to buy some more. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I'd love to read your comment. Also, go ahead and smash that like button if you did enjoy this video, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to watch more of my content in the future. See you in the next one. This was Kev's Mindset.